That is how to solve a trigonometric equation in quadratic form. So if you are given an equation that looks like a trigonometry that is in trigonometric form, how you can actually solve it. So that is what we are going to be looking at for today. So the first example we are going to look at is, okay, before we go into the into the lecture, now there are some things that we need to have in our mind. Now there's something we call identity, trigonometry identity. So note this identity, because the one is sine square x plus cos square x is equal to 1. That's the first one. Then tan square x plus 1 is equal to sec square x, and 1 plus cot square x is equal to cosec square x. So these are the basic identities that you need to know in order to solve any trigonometry equation in form of quadratic. So now if you are given tan square x minus 3 tan x minus 4 equals 0. Now you are going to discover that you have tan square, you have tan x, and you have 4. So once you did not have any other trigonometry identity apart from tan, then you are good to go. And this one is in square, and this one is just this one is not in square, which is just ordinary tan x. So what you can say, let y be equal to tan x. So by saying that, what we are trying to say is that here, instead of writing tan square x, you are going to write tan y square, because now the y is now tan x. So and the tan x is squared, so then the y will now be y squared, then minus 3. Instead of writing tan x, you are going to write y, then minus 4, which is equal to 0. So at this point, you can use any method of quadratic formula to solve this. You can use factorization method, you can use quadratic formula, you can use graph, you can use completing the square. So whichever one you want to use. So but I'm going to factorize this equation. So if you are going to factorize this equation, so you are going to ask, what are the two factors you need? The numbers that you can multiply together that will give you 4, and if you add it, it will give you minus 3. The numbers are minus 4 plus 1. So those are the numbers. So because minus 4 times plus 1 will give you minus 4, and minus 4 plus 1 will give you minus 3. So we are going to have y squared, then minus 4y minus plus y minus 4 is equal to 0. So there's a video where I did how to solve this kind of equation using quadratic formula, so you can check out the video. I'm going to put the link in the description. So here we are going to have y into y minus 4 plus, and here what's common here is plus 1 into y minus 4. So we are going to have y plus 1 then into y minus 4, which is equal to 0. So at this point we can say that y is equal to minus 1 or y is equal to 4, because this plus 1, you equate y plus 1 to be equal to 0 and y minus 4 to be equal to 0. So which will give you y is equal to minus 1, y equals 4. So at this point, you remember that you said your tan x is equal to y, isn't it? So for the first y, your tan x will be equal to minus 1, then your x will be equal to tan inverse of minus 1. Tan inverse of minus 1 is minus 45. We have that our x is equal to minus 45 degree. Okay, so that's it. Then for the other one, we are going to say tan x is equal to 4. So then x will be equal to tan inverse of 4. The tan inverse of 4 is 75.96 degree. So that is for that one. Let's look at another example. Cos square x minus sine x, which is equal to cos 2x. So this is an equation that you have to solve. So how do you go about it? Now you discover that in this same equation we have cos square, we have sine, we have 2 cos 2x. Now cos 2x, sorry. You discover that there are two different identities here, sine and cos. And for you to be able to solve it in quadratic form, you have to make sure that you only have one of the trigonometric identity, which is either you eliminate the cos to remain only sine, or you eliminate the sine to remain only cos. So in order for you to do that, the first thing you will do is that you remember that cos 2x is the same as 1 minus 2 sine square x, and cos square x is equal to 1 minus sine square x. So you can put two of these inside this equation. So instead for you to have your cos square x, you're going to have minus sine square x minus sine x, which is equal to your cos 2a. Your cos 2a will be what? Is the same as 1 minus 2 sine square x. You discover that when you bring all the square together, you're going to have minus sine square x, then with this one that's going to be plus 2 sine square x, then minus sine x, then plus this one here, the one here, and the one here is what is minus, so it's coming as minus 1, which is equal to 0. This from this will give you sine square x minus sine x, which is equal to 0. You can factorize. So if you factorize, you're going to have sine x into sine x minus 1, which is equal to 0. So which means that sine x is equal to 0 and sine x minus 1 is also equal to 0. For the first one, x will be equal to what? Sine inverse of what? Which is also 0. Then the other one, sine x minus 1 is equal to 0. Then sine x will be equal to 1. Then x is equal to sine inverse of 1. Then x is equal to 90. So sine inverse of 1 is what? Is 90. Tan x plus cot x equals 2. Now tan x plus cot x is the same as 1 over tan x, which is equal to 2. So here you can find the general LCM as tan x. So 1 divided by tan x will give you tan x, then tan x times tan x will give you tan x multiplied by tan x, then this plus sign, you put it here, plus, then tan x divided by tan x will give you 1. 1 times 1 will give you 1, which is equal to 1 divided by tan x will give you tan x, 2 times tan x will give you 2 times tan x. So you can cancel out this one. So you're going to have tan square x plus 1 is equals to 2 tan x. So you can have tan square x, then minus 2 tan x plus 1 is equal to 0. So you can say let y be equal to tan x. So we are going to have y squared minus 2y plus 1 is equal to 0. So at this point you can use any of the method to solve this quadratic equation. So I'm going to use factorization method. So if you are going to factorize this equation, you are going to look for two numbers that when you multiply it together to give you 1, and if you add it to give you minus 2. So the number are minus 1, minus 1. If you multiply minus 1 together, minus 1 times minus 1 will give you plus 1. Minus 1 minus 1 will give you minus 2. So you are going to have y squared. Then instead of writing minus 2y, you are going to write minus y, then plus 1, which is equal to 0. So at this point you can put it in bracket like this. So you check the first bracket, you are going to see that y is common, so you take out the y in, so you'll be left with what? Y minus 1. Then if you check here, discover that minus 1 is common. So if you take out the minus 1, you are going to have y, then minus 1, which is equal to 0. So y, you're going to pick this y and this minus 1, you're going to pick it, so it's going to be y minus 1. Then into y minus 1, you pick 1 out of the y minus 1, so which is 0. So which means that y minus 1 is equal to 0, y minus 1 is equal to 0, then y will be equal to 1 or 1. Tan x is equal to y. So which means that x will be equal to tan inverse of, what is your y? 1. So your x, tan inverse of 1 is 45. So you have 45 degree. So the two value for y are what? So the first x is 45 and the second x is also what? 45 degree. So that is it for today. Thanks for watching.